Good afternoon. It is 12 o'clock. It's Wednesday, which means we're going to be doing a live Q&A. So thank you so much for joining me. And today I've got my lovely daughter who is on holiday. So what's your name?
Nina Ruiz.
Yes. And you're a PR expert?
Kind of.
Ooh, so she's kind of a PR expert. So what we're going to be doing whilst people are coming on to the live stream is we're going to give you some tips, because I've just been doing an Instagram series. It's literally been a PR tip for every single day of the week, so it's Monday through Sunday. So Nina, you're going to read out Monday's PR tip. I'll hold the mic.
Okay. So Monday's PR tip is, my Monday PR tip is to tune in. Oh yeah. Tip is to tune in. You want to get into the press for some game-changing publicity, so make sure you're consuming your dream publications. Buy those glossies, listen to the radio, watch those shows where you appearing.
Where you see yourself appearing. Okay?
Once you have got to know your target press, it makes your job easier when pitching to the press. Where do you want to be seen? Comment down below.
Okay, so that's all about Monday's tip is really, by tuning in. It's all about tuning in and consuming those magazines, the radio shows, wherever you think your target press actually listens. So where do I think my target clients are going to be hanging out? Well, I know. Hopefully, because they're going to be pretty much like me. They listen to the Jeremy Vine show. They might listen to LBC. What else? Today programme, because they're going to be experts. You know what I mean? So places like that. And also a lot of people want to get into Psychologist magazine. So if you want to get into Psychologist magazine, start buying it. Hi, Lynn. You can hear us. Say hi to Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
And this is my lovely hostess today, my co-hostess. So Lynn, if you've got any PR questions, Nina is going to be my eyes. So can you read what it says just there, Neens? No, I think it just says, want to know who's... Okay, that's fine. All right. So I'm going to read out Tuesday's tip, all about do not fear rejection. So,
I can.
Yes, you can. Thank you, Nina, for being my eyes and ears. So, Lynn, if you want to post a question, Nina is going to read it out. If you've got any questions about how to get into the press, publicity or PR, read it out. Neens. So Tuesday's tip is do not fear rejection. Because when I was running my own business, I used to sell online and had an online store selling knitwear. And it was quite nerve-wracking having to call up the journalists. And then one day I got somebody who was really rude to me, a journalist. I had some really great successes, but sometimes these people just have a bad day and they just take it out on that person who's on the other end of the phone. And so what did I do when I got rejected by her? I just went upstairs and started folding clothes. It's very unlike me to do that, but it was kind of something I could do, totally different, taking me outside of the home office. So I went upstairs, folded some clothes, and then half an hour later I made another phone call to another journalist, and boom, I got in to that particular magazine, which is fabulous. So this is what I said in my Instagram Tuesday tip. Or Nina, you can read it out. Don't fear rejection. Here, start from there if you want.
All of this?
Yes.
If you want to get yourself out there and be #visible, you will have to put your head up
above the parapet.
Okay. Best thing is that when you do and you get shot down, it means you're doing something right. Take it as a compliment. Gain the essential self-confidence and go for it. It will take a few goes, but after a few pictures, you will get the swing of things and you may even start to enjoy doing your own PR. When I first started out, I had some severe rejections from fashion journos, but also some amazing success. Just takes practice. A good place to start is local. Try your local press first to nail your pitch.
Thank you for all those thumbs up, Lynn. Woohoo! So the key thing is here, don't fear rejection. Whatever you do, you're always going to get slammed down doing whatever you do in life or business. Well, not always, but, be prepared to face rejection. And then another really good tip is to actually start locally, okay? So start with your local press, which then leads me on very elegantly to Nikki, Rashid, I think that's how you say your name. So you wrote a question in and you said this, Nikki. You've sent in a press release, which you loved, my press release template. Thank you very much. You then sent it in to your local newspaper about an event that you're running. And they said they would publish your story, but so far you have had nothing from them. No mention. What do you do? How do you follow it up? That's a really good question. That's a really common thing which would happen to me when I was pitching to my local press as well. They say, yes, we love the story. We'll publish it. And then you either get a very, very small mention or you get a nice big fat mention. But whatever you do, the thing is to pick up that telephone and to call them. So who was the journalist who you initially spoke to? Did you actually speak to them? I presume you emailed in that press release. So email. Have a look at that email and then have a look at that contact, and hopefully there'll be a telephone number for that journalist, and just speak to them directly and say, thank you so much for saying that you're going to be publishing it. Would you like any more details? Just kind of go with an open-ended question, not say, when are you going to publish it? Will it be out? Yes or no? So just say, I just see you haven't published it yet. Are you waiting? Is the editor wanting to have a bit more information? So if so, I'm here to answer any questions. So please do that. So that is that tip about, approaching the local press. Now we're going to go onto our Instagram feed, onto Wednesday's PR tip. And let me just tell you something. It's been amazing. I don't have very many followers on Instagram, but I've actually managed to pump up and get from 300 now to 500, in a matter of about 2 weeks, which I'm really pleased about. So I'm just getting myself #visible there. And that is by doing doing a PR series. So Wednesday's PR tip. Over to you, Nina. Yeah.
How did you get on with Tuesday's #PR tip? Today's tip is all about research. Research your ideal customer. Where do they hang out? What do they read or watch for leisure or work? Where do they shop online and offline? Next up, research your competition. Are you on their newsletter list? Have you liked their FB page?
Facebook.
And where do you get this press mention?
Yeah, where do your competition, where do they get press mentions? So again, going back to my knitwear days, that was really important. I used to be looking at my competition. It used to be Brora and Peruvian Connection. So I would look and see where they've been mentioned. Is it in Grazia? Is it the Daily Telegraph? Is it, the Waitrose magazine? Where are they getting their mentions? And that is where you need to start focusing in on. And also there might be some other magazines which they've never heard about, which you can then start trying to get into as well. So that was that. I'm now going to go to another Q&A. Hold on a second. How can I pitch my services and look... how can I pitch my services and a book and look like I'm not being a salesperson and you don't want to be advertising? Well, magazines and journalists always like to hear about a human interest story. So what is it about your service that you offer that can be really, transformational to your clients? Do you have any case studies that you can talk about? Do you have 3 really happy clients whose lives or whose businesses you have actually transformed? And are they happy to go to the press? Are they happy to be mentioned within a case study? Okay, so why don't you think about that? Look at your past clients, and if they say, oh my goodness, there's a common thread running along here. I seem to be changing people's lives in this and this way. They seem to be growing their businesses as a result of my advice. Have a look at that. And the thing is, you don't want to look like a salesperson, because otherwise they'll just say to you, call the ad sales team, if you want to place an advert. But you want to be helpful to the journalist, or you might want to say, I read that article, 2 or 3 weeks ago that you ran about this woman, this female entrepreneur. Do you know what? I'm actually quite similar, but I do something really different. My approach is, extremely different. Blah blah blah. So just look at the angles and see what you can do, which is slightly different. Neen, we're going to be doing another Instagram tip. Today, we're now on Thursday. So what I'm doing at the moment, everybody, is I'm literally running through a series I did on Instagram. And, Nina looks a bit tired. We're keeping you up, love. Right, Nina, read out Thursday's PR tip, please.
Thursday's PR tip is do a 5-minute PR activity a day. Here are some quick fire ideas. Look at the hashtag on Twitter, #journo request, and see what the journos are looking for today. Help out a journo. Like their tweets, give them links or intros to influencers that you know will serve them. Listen to your target client's radio show. Get to know the host and types of their stories they cover. Research who are the show producers. Keep current and up to date with stories in your industry. Your time will come. Put your dream magazine's front cover onto your office wall and look at it every day. This is your vision board. Be consistent. Do 5 minutes a day of PR research and self-promo.
Okay, so Thursday's tip series was actually packed full of major tips. So have you gone to that hashtag on Twitter, which is called Journo Request? There's also another one called PR Request. That is where you see journalists crying out for people to answer stories, to feature, or for you to share. So let's say you know somebody, let's say they're looking for somebody like somebody who's lost 5 stone and they want to cover a story because it's all big about obesity or it's Obesity Week. Are you somebody who knows anything about obesity? If you're not, do you have any friends within your entrepreneurial circle who might be that go-to person? So why don't you have a look there? So that's Journo Request, that's essential. Then I say here, listen to your target's radio show and get to know the host. So if you want to actually go on that radio show, listen to that story, consistently. So once a week, make sure that you listen to it and you'll get a feeling for the kind of stories they cover. I mean, everybody would love to be on Woman's Hour. I know that. So listen to it and think, okay, so if I want to be on Woman's Hour, what am I going to do? What's going to be my hook? And why are they going to be interested in my story? And research, then you are ready to pitch. So research who are the show producers. So you're not going to be pitching directly to the host of the radio show themselves. It's actually the producers who do the research to actually find the guests. And then another great tip is if you have a dream magazine that you'd love to get into, rip off that front cover, if you can bear to do that, and stick it onto your office wall, all right? And then look at it every single day and go, okay, I'm going to get into that magazine. What about that tip? Is that a good tip, Neen?
Yes.
Thank you, darling. Okay, and then literally do 5 minutes of PR research and self-promo a day. Make sure you do 5 minutes a day. I'm going to go over to Q&A. Any questions? Come on, tap away. I want some questions on the live stream because that's what I've got Nina here for, to read, so I don't need to start squinting to the screen. Okay. So let's have a look. How to get the media... Hang on a sec. How to begin. Oh, wow, that's a bit of a question. The question is how to begin. Great tips. Thanks, Lynn. Okay, so how do I begin? Right, that's a very open-ended question, but what I'm going to say is how to begin. Think about your target audience. Who is your dream client? Where do they hang out? What do they read? So what you can do first off is actually speak to some of your current or your past clients and, do a little survey and say, what magazines and publications, radio shows do you listen to? Then you'll have a common thread running through. And then when you have that common thread running through, you will then think, okay, well, I'm actually going to start listening to those radio shows, the TV, the Sky News and all the rest of it. Because I saw Warren Knight the other day being interviewed on Sky News. Hey, I would love to be on Sky News. So I'm going to start listening to Sky News. I'm actually an addict to Channel 4 News. I'd love to potentially appear on there as well as one of the entrepreneurial, slots. But they don't really do entrepreneurial slots, so it's not the right show for me, but it's a really good show for me to listen to for my clients because I've got so many diverse clients. It's really good. All their stories are being covered all the time. Obesity, mental health, women in tech, they cover that wide gamut all the time. So that's where I would help. Now, I don't know what time it is. Lynn, give us a time check. I don't know how long we've been rambling on for. Can you tell me what time it is, Lynn? So, Nina, over to you for Friday's tip. Thank you. Here we are. Start small.
Start small. Don't go in all guns blazing to your dream publication or TV shows. You could end up on it, but in a roundabout way. Read on. Producers scour the regional press for stories and experts. Don't ignore what's near your front door.
Do you like that little rhyme? Don't ignore what's on your front door. Thanks, Lynn, for the time check, 12:15. Okay, that means go local, okay? Because that is where the TV producers go hunting for their clients or for their, for their guests.
Gather data and stats to show proof of how effective your product or service is. Or do a survey to a minimum of 100. A small bit of data can go a long way. I got some amazing coverage in a local glossy mag from my hometown I had left years ago. Girl done good. Kind of story. So it's your current front door and your old one too.
Do you get that? Okay, so I live in Essex. I was brought up in Worcester, which means I can be the local lass appearing in the paper, both locally in Essex, in the Colchester area, and also Worcester or the Midlands, or I could be in East Anglia. So, are you living in your hometown? Have you moved? Lynn, where were you from? Are you always a Isle of Wight lass, or have you moved from somewhere else? So don't forget, you can approach what's near your front door. Right, I could do another question. Okay, hold on a sec. Hang on a seckie, I'm just reading.
No, West London.
Ah, perfect, Lynn. So West London, is that kind of Notting Hill? What's the area? Is that, tell me your town. Because, basically you can do something, you can approach your West London press and say that you've moved to where you are currently. Hang on a sec. Ealing. Okay, there you go. I'm sure there's an Ealing Gazette. And then, because I know, Lynn, that you're like the granny of, the social media gran or whatever. I don't know, I can't remember what your moniker is, but let me know what your moniker is. And that's what you can say, how you're killing it in social media in the Isle of Wight. So what is the best way to nurture a journalist to get her or his attention? So the best way to do that is to stalk them on Twitter. What are they saying on Twitter? Just read what they're doing. Who are they commenting to? Who are their friends who are sharing their posts? Look at who their friends are. Basically, try and get into their circle, but not in a gross stalkery way. Do it in a nice, gentle way, by liking their posts, retweeting, but don't do it, like every single hour, otherwise I really think you're a stalker. But go in there consistently for a few weeks, and then that will pay off. They think, oh, this person's really interested. And obviously share some interesting pieces as well. Nina, can you read that? Because I really can't read. My eyesight is so bad.
Social media granny, yes. My son says 66 and socially slick.
Do you hear that? Do you like that? 66 and socially slick. That is brilliant. So come on, Lynn. Get yourself into the Ealing Gazette or the Ealing Evening News. I don't know what your paper was. So that's that. Now, Nina, we're now going to do Saturday's tip. And this is the final tip. So come on, Nina, you've got to read it really well. Go.
This is my final tip in the current series. Hope you enjoyed the daily PR tips. Today, Saturday's tip is to keep your eyes peeled on Twitter. You can learn a lot about your target journo on Twitter, so make sure you spend 5 to 10 minutes a day researching, commenting, liking and retweeting the posts of your target journo. Put your PR dart and you will soon find new opportunities.
Great, and we've had a comment from Hyacinth. Hello, Hyacinth. Now, what is your cue for today's Q&A? And Nina's going to be a scribe is someone who writes. What's a reader called? Maybe it's just called a reader. She's going to be my lector. So that is that. So that's the series that we did on Instagram, which is really great. And I've managed to, get 143 likes maximum on each of these posts, which is fantastic. I've never had so much, likeage before on Instagram. It's fantastic. So that's that. Oh, here we go, Neen. Read it away.
If not on Twitter, is it worth joining? Thanks, Nina, too.
Okay, definitely join Twitter because that is where all the journalists hang out. It really is the place to be. Hyacinth, where do you hang out? What is your social media platform that you use currently? Nina, you need to read what she says in a minute. I think she's tapping. But yeah, no, definitely join Twitter. And don't worry if if you're going to start and you've only got 2 or 3 people who you're following, just do a bit of a followed campaign. And then hopefully you'll get people following you back. And what do you do, Hyacinth? What is your business?
Mostly Facebook.
Okay, that's okay. But if you've got a Facebook page, try and get your friends to go and like your Twitter feed, okay? But I really do think that going to Twitter is really important. So if you're just going to be using it for like a stalking, a polite stalking purposes, use it for that. But don't get, worried about the fact that you don't have thousands and thousands of followers on Twitter. If you're just going to be using it as a tool, use it as a tool. There you go, Need that, Neens.
Business page and Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Fabulous. Okay. What's your handle in Instagram? Then we can look it up after this. So let us know what you do. And Hyacinth, what do you actually do as a business? I'd like to know what you do. And then also tell me about your dream publications you'd love to get into. And the same goes to you, Lynn, if you're still on the call. So I'm going to do another cue. How do you self-promote without being too salesy? Oh, Nina, you've got to read something.
New business is Empower 7.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting. I wonder who you're empowering. Are you empowering female entrepreneurs? So write more now so we can read about it. But in the meanwhile, how do you self-promote without looking too salesy? So that is really the 80-20 rule. So what you need to be doing, if you're doing it on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever, or just face-to-face when you meet people, is don't always go, hi, my name's Amanda Ruiz and I'm amazing at doing, teaching you how to do self-promotion, how to get into the press. Buy my products and services now. No, it's all about engaging, okay? So, and being helpful, so giving away your free tips. That's a really good way to do it. So whatever tips you have got, Lynn, what are your tips? Let us know, what your tips are. Can you do a little series, a 5-step series or a 7-step series to engage your clients? That's a really good idea to do that. And then after you've done that series, then you can say, hey, I'd love you to like my page. Come over and, and I'll give you my checklist. If you like these things, come and see my checklist. So that is what I can say. And we haven't got any more things for you to read out, Nina. So we might. Oh, here we are. Nina, read it.
I do business top tips from the bus.
From the bus? What bus is that, Lynn? Have you got a bus in Isle of Wight? Oh, bus stop. Oh, wow, I love that. That sounds really great. Hyacinth says.
Help women overcome trauma and adversity to live a life on purpose.
And then you need to press the button that says see more. Oh. Sorry. Oh, no. There you go.
There you go.
Instagram is soul conscious okay, brill. So you help women overcome trauma and adversity. Ooh, wow, very important. Sounds great. Sounds like we really need to hear more about you.
On a coach, so reception keeps going, but like the tip.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, okay, don't worry about the reception going because you can listen to this afterwards. But thank you very much for joining. And I really like the sound of the 66 and slick, or whatever your son says, Lynn. And you do tips from a bus stop. That's really amazing. That's like, different. And Hyacinth, do you do your tips from a coach? Why not start doing it from a coach? So all I'm going to say to you, I'm going to wrap up now and say thank you so much for the for checking into the Q&A session. I hope those tips have been helpful. Nina, any more messages? No. She's gone a bit dumbstruck. She's very good at doing her Musical.lys and she's always doing videos. So thank you very much to my co-hostess and we will be catching you at the next Q&A Wednesday. Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, you can press the button for me, Neen. Okay. You're my assistant.